Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by DraftKings. I am your host, Greg Braggs Jr., the meatball idiot here of Bears After Dark. Joining me, as always, is our guy, the genius, the soothsayer, the man who told us all what was going to happen this season, and my dumbass doubted him. Corey Wootton once again joins us.
What's up, man? I'm not saying I said it, but I'm saying I said it. No, but didn't I kind of tell you how this was going to play out and why we should keep Fields, draft a wide receiver, get a 3 technique and end, and then all of a sudden this team is a lot scarier. You know, like Braggs, can we? I know people have been very critical about Justin Fields, but did he not play well with all the conditions, right? The snowy, the ball being the moisture. He was throwing some dimes out there, right? The first touchdown pass to DJ Moore, right? Yep. He had a chance to do a second touchdown pass to DJ Moore. I don't know. He went up in one hand. I don't know. That was kind of weird. He had him there too. Tyler Scott. He was throwing some dimes. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. Can you just imagine, right? If that's Marvin Harrison Jr., he catches that ball. Come on, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When we actually get a true number 1, 2 receiver.
I mean,
like
he could have had Marvin Harrison would have had 2 touchdowns from Tyler Scott drops.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he threw the ball right on the money to him. So I think, like I said, Justin Fields has all the talent. And now he's improved in every bit of his game, right? And I think that game was just huge for him. He's playing freely. And I think Luke Getsy had a great game plan. I think the two go hand in hand. And people say, well, you got to be able to play regardless of the game plan. For a guy like Aaron Rodgers or a guy that's an established quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, yeah. I mean, they're guys that have the confidence, that have gone through years of improvement. And they got to their game to a level where they know exactly what they need to do to get it done.
Yep.
Justin Fields is still a developing quarterback, but I think the performance that he put on Sunday was unbelievable. And I think everybody that questioned him, how much did we see a 180 turn on Bears Twitter after that game? Now everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid, right?
Yep. Yeah, you know how it goes. I mean, it's a week-to-week league. You know, fans, wear their emotion on their sleeves week to week with, everything from their belief in the team or an individual player like Justin Fields, who certainly is a lightning rod for conversation. I mean, you're 100% right. Like, you can point to other games statistically that he had better. Denver, that they, lost at the end. Statistically, he went off in that game. The Washington game that he followed up was an amazing game. But when you consider everything that was on the line on Sunday, where you understand what's hanging over everyone's head as the Bears are clinching the number 1 pick at the exact same moment, Justin Fields is putting a stamp on his resume. And, he made some pinpoint throws. That touchdown to DJ Moore in the corner of the end zone is as threading the needle as you can possibly get for a throw. But some of the throws with anticipation, the inside dig on the left side to DJ Moore, at one point he leads him, coming across the middle of the field. And that's the other part of it. We got to keep talking about his throws to DJ Moore. Well, he really didn't have anyone else to throw to. Darnell Mooney's out with an injury. Cole Kmet only got 12 or 13 snaps in the game. He tried to fit it in a few times to Tyler Scott, and Tyler couldn't come down with it. The deep ball would have been a tough catch to make, but big-time players make that play. Marvin Harrison Jr. likely makes that play. The catch in the back of the end zone, Tyler Scott just can't get his feet down, but Marvin Harrison Jr. at 6'4" probably gets his feet down. And so when you take that into account, because people are trying to, he only had 1 touchdown. Well, he probably should have had 3. And so at the end of I've always tried to be fair to this conversation. We know that I'm flip-flopping. I'm all over the place. I don't know what I want for this team. I don't know what I want Ryan Poles to decide, but it's impossible to not acknowledge what's happening. And when Justin Fields broke out of like 3 tackles, spun out, threw that Falcons guy, get off me, and runs for 20 yards, scampers out of bounds, and the entire sidelines is going crazy. The entire stands gets up and gives him a standing ovation. That's one of those moments for me, who's definitely a vibes type of guy, a guy that's just using my eye test, and I'm not going to, try to do the football acumen or the film study. You could just see in that moment, you're like, wow, they've got something really brewing here. And you can see a team that wants to run through a brick wall for their quarterback. You can't find that on a stat sheet, those vibes, but they're palpable, and I am definitely taking notice.
Yeah, like think about this, like you had talked about. We really didn't have a true number 2 receiver out there. Like you said, Cole Kmet, was limited, had 12 to 13 plays. Tyler Scott, he's not ready for that role yet. Maybe eventually in the future he could be, potentially. He's not ready for that role. He's a good supplemental guy, a 3 or 4. But think about that. Think about if even Cole Kmet was healthy in that game, Justin Fields would have probably threw for 350 yards easily. Like, easily. So I think what you're talking about, being a vibes guy, the stadium chanting his name, and you got to think Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, the way he played when everybody, right? We could say arguably he lost some of the fan base. How this season has transpired, right? I think he won them back and some, because just the reaction, not only in the stadium, but what I got talked about on Twitter, people have been recognized. Like I said, this guy is so talented. Imagine when we get everything on the same page offensively with the coordinator. You add another weapon at wide receiver, DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison. Like, imagine that combo right there with Justin Fields playing this way. They already are right now, the way they're playing right now, right? Even though the offense has been up and down at times, they are a playoff caliber team. The way they're playing right now, we can agree on that, right?
Yeah, 100%. They're 7-5 in their last 12 games.
So just imagine building around Justin Fields, continuing to develop, and people have gotten a conversation where they're like, well, he's going to be too expensive. And my thing is like this: you look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is getting paid $40 million a year. Justin Fields, let's say you pick up his 5th-year option, right? You're talking about for next year and the following year, $31.5 million for 2 years for a quarterback that's going to continue improving. That hasn't even scratched the surface of what he can be. So I think that's a steal of a deal, if you ask me. Yep. So when people talk about numbers and all this, average quarterbacks are getting paid $35-40 million. So right. So to get a quarterback that has the talent, that's going to continue to improve, you're going to continue to build around them for $31.5 million for 2 years. I think that's a pretty good situation for the Bears.
Yeah, and I think they still have the opportunity to just pick up his 5th-year option for right now, and maybe push the contract discussion into after next year potentially. They do have that option on the table, but this is what I want to ask you, Corey, as someone that's been in a locker room. I want to know. We asked Cole Kmet this question, and he's in the locker room right now, so it's a tough question. So I want to ask you it. If you were on the leadership committee and Ryan Poles came to you and said, I'm thinking about trading Justin Fields because I think Caleb Williams might give us a better chance to win, what would you say to him as somebody that's a leader on the team?
I think as a leader of the team, you have to say, because especially I think this is the case with Justin Fields, and guys have been vocal about it, but I can't speak about everybody on the team. But from what I gather, right, the locker room is behind him. I mean, that's you gather that as well. I think it's the fans
100%.
Yeah. So if I'm in the locker room and I feel the same way as these guys do, I'm fighting for it. Especially if I'm a veteran guy, a guy that's a starter, a guy that people looked. I'm talking to Ryan Poles. I'm talking to the staff and saying, this is our guy, right? He's built this leadership with this team. We rally behind him. We want to play with him. We want to build this team around him. And I think just them saying that, a guy like DJ Moore, a guy that's a veteran guy that is a stud in this league. I think that goes a long way, especially other guys. Montez Sweat saying that bona fide leader on this team. Everybody elevated. Everybody's getting people look to him. I think that goes a long way, and I just think the way their chemistry is right now, Braggs, I would hate for that to go away, right? Because people say, oh, well, it's only one player, right? Look what happened in 2012 to 2013. We got rid of Brian Urlacher. We got rid of Lovie Smith. That defense went from top 5 to dead last. And it's crazy how one piece of the puzzle can really impact the whole team. So that's all I'm saying. You have to keep that in consideration, right? I think Justin Fields has all the talent in the world. I think he's continuing to improve in every area. I think the way this team is playing right now, the chemistry, the camaraderie, that's a big thing. They are Detroit, what Detroit was last year, right?
Yep.
And then imagine that going into next season, hitting the ground running, ready to go. Being in a situation like they are, 11 wins right now with a chance to go for 12, I believe, right?
Yep.
So, and this Bears team playing way better defensively. Imagine if you add those two pieces, defensive end and defensive tackle. Another year of Gervon Dexter getting off the ball. It's a scary thing. So I just think you have to consider that. And I just think, regardless of Caleb Williams, Drake May, Justin Fields is too talented to let him go. I just think he's too talented. You build around him. You build this roster the way they're playing right now. You keep things the way they are. You just add pieces. And I'm telling you, they are a wide receiver, a defensive end, a defensive tackle. Obviously, you got to address the center position. But I think if you address those three positions, I think this is a scary team, Braggs. I really do.
I agree.
Imagine the pressure with you have a dude opposite Montez Sweat. You got a 3 technique who I'm high on, Johnny Newton, man, from Illinois. Reminds me of Tommy Harris in his prime coming out of Oklahoma. That would be a scary sight, the way this defense is playing. Hopefully we can lock up Jalen Johnson. Talented linebacking core. Braggs, this is a top 5 defense right here. You add that pass rush, that rush and cover, and then you add the pieces around Fields. This is a scary team. This is an 11, 12, 13 win team.
Yep. It's exciting. It's a little frustrating because you definitely feel the Bears team turning the corner like you're talking about. And next year should be a really exciting year. But, of course, it's so Chicago to constantly be divided about the quarterback position. And we never seem to get out of this conversation all the way back in my lifetime to Rex versus Orton, and then that transferred over with Cutler, whether you loved him or hated him. And then McCown came in. People liked him over Cutler. And then Mitch, you either loved him or hated him. Then Mick Foles versus, Mitch, and Andy Dalton. Everyone hated him. And so it's been a carousel of the quarterback situation. And, in the mid 2000s with Lovey, you had Orton versus Grossman, who were 2 average to below average quarterbacks that we were trying to pick between. And now we have this discussion with these two. At least we've entered an upper echelon of trying to pick between 2 quarterbacks that have a lot of talent and a lot of intrigue. But it is a little frustrating for me that it's never an easy answer for the Bears. There's never a clear path. And with this team on the horizon, on the brink of being a competitive and special team, there's still this divisiveness with the fan base and what they can do. So it'll be interesting to see. We know your stance. You've been 10 toes down on this vision for 2 months now, while I continue to harass you about different ideas, and you've held firm, and a lot of fans have as well. And I'm the one riding the fence, flip-flopping, because I can't seem to make up my mind. And I do ride that emotional roller coaster when it comes to the Bears and players, and that's just where I'm at right now. So we know where you stand with it. So let's just say, for the sake of discussion tonight, because the Bears locked up the number 1 pick, what do you want to do with it? Because if you're going to keep Fields, and let's just keep it in that hypothetical that they keep Fields, to me, The more responsible thing to do is to trade that pick back and get a haul, the biggest haul you could ever possibly get for that pick, and stock load this team for years to come. Give yourself an opportunity to get back in the top 10 with another team's first round pick for the next 3 years. Or you have Marvin Harrison Jr., or you can trade back one spot and still take Marvin Harrison Jr. and get a little bit of draft equity. Where do you think Ryan Poles should go when it comes to, using that first round pick equity?
I think what the book says is trade back, right? It's just a matter of how far. And I think, in my opinion, and if Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren, they feel the same way, I think you got to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I do. I think he's the most talented receiver to come out in a long time. His playmaking ability is unbelievable. He would elevate this offense automatically the moment he stepped in there. So if they with the first overall pick, pulled the trigger on him, I would not be mad about that at all. Especially when you have another first round pick as well, kind of in that range where I talked about Johnny Walker from Illinois, right? You get Marvin Harrison Jr., you get him. And then all of a sudden, 2 of those 3 pieces you took care of, right? And then hopefully in free agency, you're able to address that defensive end and center position. And then you've solved a lot of those issues, right? Obviously, they're going to have to make a decision at safety, what they're going to do with Eddie Jackson. So that could be another avenue in free agency. I think Eddie Jackson, I think he's just going to get paid too much, and we haven't seen the production. We've seen injuries, so I think he's going to be a casualty at that point. I think they're probably going to make a decision on him. But I think leaving that draft, if they feel as good as I do and some other people, some analysts about Marvin Harrison Jr., you got to get him. I think you got to get him. So I would be okay if they just pulled the trigger there. But obviously, if you could trade back and get some other picks, that's always a good situation.
Well, normally, in the last few years, I've made the observation that I get frustrated that the draft is after free agency. It never seems to make a lot of sense to me because you don't know who is going to fall to you in the draft. So if the draft was first, then you could address free agency after you know who you can get in the draft. And so I've always wanted it to be switched. But since the Bears have the number 1 pick, it's nice that free agency is first, because what you're talking about, making this decision, well, you can attack free agency like crazy and try to fill as many holes as you possibly can. And then you'll have a much more clear vision, if you're Ryan Poles, what you want to do with that number 1 pick. If you've done enough to fill the rest of the holes on your roster to say, okay, I'm not going to, trade back and set our franchise up for the next few years. And I'm going to push all in with not just Justin Fields, but Marvin Harrison as well. And I'm not going to be upset Marvin Harrison Jr. is here. I've been wanting him on the Bears for 3 years. I didn't realize we were going to run into this situation that we currently are in. So there's a lot to consider here. And just like the quarterback situation, where I think both options are guys that have a lot of talent and are intriguing, I think both options, from trading back or drafting Marvin Harrison Jr., are both very good options for the Bears. And that's an amazing spot that Ryan Poles has put us in to give this team an opportunity to become a threat here in the NFC and possibly win a Super Bowl for the first time in our lifetimes. Because I was 2 months old when the Bears won the Super Bowl last time. So I'm looking forward to the day the confetti drops. And
dang, you're getting old, man. You're getting old.
And you're getting old too. I got gray hairs. You should have seen me during that Jaguars game, just stressing out. And they ended up winning 26-0. I didn't sleep all week over it. This means something to me, Corey. I'm invested. I am invested to a.
All right, I got to put you on the spot right now.
Uh-oh.
Are you in for Justin Fields? Are you in? Are you on the?
He's got to beat Green Bay, Corey. I'm in. All right. I saw it. I saw the vision. I see it. I seen it. But You cannot. The Green Bay Packers defense is ranked like 30th in DVOA. Bryce Young dropped 30 on the Green Bay Packers 2 weeks ago. Granted, it was in Carolina. Justin Fields in the offense, they've won 4 of their last 5 games. Mm-hmm. We haven't beaten Green Bay since 2018. Yeah. They're always the gatekeeper to the division. You want to take the North and never give it back. Yeah. You embarrassed yourselves if you're the Chicago Bears the way you came out week 1 at Soldier Field. You have every opportunity to right that wrong here in the last week of the season. Yeah. And I need you guys in the Bears and Justin Fields to go out there and do what you're supposed to do. Because in my opinion, like people say, well, what if Justin plays well and they lose? In my opinion, if the offense plays well up to their potential against a defense that's not very good in the Green Bay Packers, I don't see Green Bay beating the Bears because the Bears defense is humming right now. Yeah. And I don't see them being able to keep up with the Bears if the Bears can put some points on the board. The only question I have is, can Justin Fields and that offense show up on the road against a rival who we always seem to struggle against? They've always had our number. So Ryan Poles has asked for consistency. I'm starting to see the execution become more consistent, but go out there, finish the season on a 3-game winning streak, finish the season beating the division 3 times in a row, finish the season 5 games out of 6, knock the Packers out of the playoffs. Justin Fields, you play like you did against Atlanta. I'll come on here next week and I'll plant my flag in the ground that he should stay.
Okay. But Braggs, you said 31st in defense. I'm a little bit nervous about this matchup, and I'll tell you why. I think the defensive line. I think this is going to come down to the trenches, right? What lines play better? Because when I look at it, right, they're 31st, but they got a talented bunch up front. They got Kenny Clark, that's arguably one of the best D tackles in the game. Very underrated. He doesn't get the respect he deserves. I think he has 6.5, 7 sacks this year. Unbelievable off the football, in the run game, pass rush. Rashawn Gary coming off an ACL. He has 9 sacks right now, right? I think he's going for double digits. This is a big game for him coming off an ACL. Preston Smith as well. Talented guy that can come off the edge. He's kind of been streaky this year. He's had games where he's been invisible, other games where he's lights out, 2 sacks, really flashing there. So this is a game that I am a little worried about offensively, like how we're going to hold up against this talented bunch. Because think about this. They are playing for the playoffs, right? And they're like, hey, we own Chicago. So I'm hoping they come to town, title town. They're in there. They're a little cocky. But it's going to be critical that they win the battle of the trenches, right? So Braxton Jones has to play lights out, right? Darnell Wright. Because Rashawn Gary, I mean, he's against younger guys this season. He's really went ham on some of these younger offensive tackles in the game. Preston Smith as well. So they're going to have to do their best job, especially playing with that silent count, right? Being able to get off the football, being able to manage the games, the inside moves. So that it's going to be very interesting to watch. And I think that's where this game is won, right? If the Bears offensive line can handle that pass rush, because they got 3 really talented guys that can really beat you on any given Sunday. And then defensively, if we're able to pressure and get after Jordan Love, which I think we can, right? Because obviously David Bakhtiari hasn't been there all season. I think he was one of the bright spots for them, a true shutdown on that left side. This is a game where I see Montez Sweat going big in there. I see him really going big. And if I'm Eberflus, I'm bringing some blitzers. I'm bringing some linebackers. Because the times that Jordan Love has really struggled is when you got pressure in his face. And I think any quarterback really struggles with that. So this game is going to be won in the trenches.
Yeah, and Tareem brings up a good point here in the chat saying, seems like every time we play Green Bay, their defense knows Getsy's every move. And that's a good point because Luke Getsy, I thought, did a good job calling plays against Atlanta. They face a lot of man coverage. But it'll be interesting to see what Green Bay shows, against Justin. Justin's been good against cover 1, good against man coverage. If you send blitz like Minnesota did, it caused issues, although Minnesota's blitz causes everyone issues. And if you get into a zone, that makes Justin Fields have to kind of try to figure out where those spots are. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But to that point, I think Tareem makes a good point that Getsy is another big factor when he goes up against Green Bay.
Yeah, not to get in his head because you're playing against your former team. Oh, I got to do this and that. Look at the game. At the end of the day, right, people stick to their guns, right? They do what they do. And it's a matter of, what we're going to do. It's mano-y-mano. In this set we're going to run the football. And it's mano-y-mano. You got to beat him. You got to run his face over. And at the end of the day, that's sometimes what it is, right? Guys stick to their guns. There's a couple plays here or there that they'll bring out the bag. But most teams know exactly what a team is doing it. But it comes down, and I said, the trenches, right? Tevin Jenkins and company. Hey, on this set we're going to run the ball. How are you going to handle Kenny Clark? How are you going to handle Preston Smith? How are we going to go about Rashawn Gary? And that's what it comes down to. So, we can talk about they know this or they know that, right? Just like we know what they're going to do, right? They have tendencies. It's all about who can out-execute. And on any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody, right? That's why the Panthers have beat teams they shouldn't have. Other teams in this league, Arizona went out and shocked the world against Philly. And people were talking about, that Arizona win was nothing. They suck. Come on, man.
At least my imitation voice got a little better there. I mean,
exactly. But people are saying,
no, you're right. I was one of them. I was sitting there going, they were up 21-0. And then in the second half, they let off the gas. Justin even said after the game they should have scored 40 points. And I came away from that game disappointed because I'm sitting there going, Arizona's defense isn't very good. The Bears should have beat the brakes off them, especially starting the game 21-0. But like you said, Arizona shows up to Philly the next week and beats the Philadelphia Eagles, who are a playoff team, and that did put on full display. It's any given Sunday. That's how it works in the NFL.
And a take right now that might be controversial. The Chicago Bears are playing better football than the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
Wow.
They are. Wow. Right now, the past 4 to 5 weeks, they've been playing more consistent football. Where are we seeing cracks in their game? They're not getting the pressure. They're not getting the turnovers like they used to. Arizona putting up 30-plus points on them. They are not playing good football right now. It is what it is. So the Bears are playing great football, and that's why it'd be scary if you keep the pieces right now. You add a couple, it'd be scary for next year, and that's what you want, right? Obviously, remember how we got in the conversation. Oh, was this a waste of a year? Was this? And the thing is, yes, I said it's hard to swallow, like the fact that you had so many expectations, and this Bears team could be 10-6 right now, going with a chance to win 11 games right now. It's hard to swallow that pill. But I think the one good thing, I think we've gotten some clarity on this team, right? And I think we can all agree Eberflus is probably going to stay the head coach. I think he's done a great job with the defense. He's improved in his in-game decisions. He has this defense playing lights out. And think about this from the defensive line standpoint. Just adding one player impacted this team and really got them on the right path, right?
It's crazy.
So imagine another two impact players on the defensive line. And now we're talking about, because right now, since Montez Sweat came in, I think after his second or third game, this Bears, if we're looking at the stats, they are a top 5 defense right now.
100%.
The way they're playing. Yeah.
100%.
So imagine adding those two pieces at defensive end and defensive tackle. That is scary to think about with consistent pressure from the front four, because they're able to generate pressure, but not like they should if they have those two pieces right there. That would be scary. That would be really scary. So I think they're in a good position, right? So this year wasn't a waste after all, because sometimes, right, things don't always go exactly how you think, right? It's a matter of how you respond to it. And what I love the most is how these players have played hard regardless, right? They're out of the playoffs. This game, they play hard every week in and week out. The defense is playing, right? Regardless of what happened with the offense, they're hitting lows in the game. The defense stands up and make plays, right? It's unbelievable to see. And I think Eberflus got this locker room together. I think Justin Fields, they're rallying around him. So I think it's a good sign. I think you keep Eberflus. I hope that they go elsewhere with Luke Getsy, but For some reason, I feel like they might keep
I
him
agree.
too.
I think he's going to return. If they beat Green Bay, I think everybody returns.
Yeah, because I think the thing is, I think if the offense plays well and they have a back-to-back performance, it's kind of like, what have you done for me lately? You know, you leave your mark on the rest of the season. And I'm just hoping, right, if Luke Getsy stays here, right, you learn exactly what worked for this team, right? You learn what worked for Justin Fields and the games he did well, right, and how you called these plays and how you were able to manage these situations. And not play conservative, because I think the one thing that we've realized from Luke Getsy, from the games Justin Fields has done well, he hasn't been conservative. And the games that they've kind of hit a lull, they've struggled, they started out hot and then fizzled, he got conservative. So my thing is like this. Once you get a quarterback in a rhythm, you get him in a groove, you got to continue slinging that rock. And at too many times during the season, you know, the first Detroit game, Justin Fields got really confident. And all of a sudden, towards the end of the game, when you have two-score lead, he got very complacent. Oh, let's run the ball left. Let's run. He took the ball out of your best playmaker's hands in Justin Fields. So Luke Getsy going forward, right? Put the ball in your playmaker's hands. That's what he does. He makes plays. And he's shown that, right? Last game, he had arguably one of his best performances. And the stats, 266 yards, 1 touchdown, they don't blow you out the water. But his impact, looking at that game, what he can do when you call a great game, I think the future is bright in Chicago. I am really looking forward to next season. I would be surprised, especially the Bears go in there, beat Green Bay. Justin Fields plays extremely well again. This offense does well. If Justin Fields is not a Chicago Bear, I think this game alone, the Atlanta game, I think really put him over the edge to stay in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. If the season ended today, then I would be with you. But when you got one more game to play, you do have more opportunity of an evaluation. And if they're to play great, you know, I think that only bolsters his stance. But if they weren't to play well, that's the lasting image you have as you enter the offseason that could, you know, be enough to sway, because it's a small margin here. I mean, to your point about this offense starting to come together, and even Luke Getsy staying, and people go, well, why didn't this team play better earlier? You know, and as hard as I've been on this offense and Luke Getsy, I mean, let's be realistic about how this all went down. I mean, to start the year, you had offensive line injuries, Nate Davis, Tevin Jenkins out right out the gate. Braxton Jones eventually gets hurt. You know, you have obviously this, you know, chaos going on. Chase Claypool has to get traded out of here because he's a malcontent in the locker room. You know, you obviously had coordinator issues on the other side of the ball, guys getting out of here. Then once you get everybody healthy, Tevin Jenkins comes back, Nate Davis comes back. Now Justin Fields gets hurt, and he's out 4 to 5 weeks. And since he's returned, you know, they're 4-2, have a chance to finish 5-2 on the season, 3 games in a row. And so, yeah, everything's starting to come together. Everything's starting to look like it should have to start the year. But if I want to try to create the excuse train, I mean, that those to me are not just excuses, they're facts as to why things didn't come together quicker. And is it frustrating? Sure. I'm sure the players are just as frustrated as the fans that we're going to potentially fall 1 game short of the playoffs. But there's no denying the progress they're making, and it's certainly exciting to see. I did want to highlight before we take a quick shout out to our sponsors. We did have a $10 super chat here from Trevor Lamarche. You want to take the North, never give it back. Draft Marvin Harrison Jr. $10 super chat. We appreciate you, Trevor. And then I also wanted to highlight. Trevor also says Brian Baldinger even said keep JF1, saying Williams is the same player. And Brian Baldinger is somebody who's been on our show every Wednesday here for the whole season. He's known Caleb Williams, you know, even dating back to high school. And he's been saying on the show that he would draft Caleb Williams for months. And then yesterday he's tweeting out, you know what? Keep Justin Fields, trade the pick back. And so even a guy like Baldy, who I respect his football acumen, you guys are step for step on that. Like, that's where I'm going to really lean on your guys' football expertise. So he's even moving the needle as far as where his vibes are on this. But I just want to kind of put this into perspective on as somebody who's living on the fence and is a total flip-flopper, what I got to deal with on a daily basis. Back-to-back comments in our chat here tonight. Khalaf Ibrahim said, I'm nervous because I don't truly believe in Justin Fields. And then the very next comment from Hendricks is, Braggs, you want to plant the flag anyway. Just own it. You're a Justin Fields fan. Nothing wrong with that. And that just, to me, puts on full display how hard this has been for me. Yes, I want to be defiant. I wish I was as defiant as Corey is on this. I respect his opinion. I'm not just going to follow him into the sunset on it. I have my own opinion, and I am sitting right in the middle, and maybe there is some hedging going on and flip-flopping way too much. But I'm just trying to be honest with you guys that tune into these shows. I'm not going to lie to pander to the chat. I don't know what the best answer is. I do want to see them beat the crap out of Green Bay, but this tribalism where, oh, you're just a Justin Fields ball washer or you're a hater. None of that is true. I'm rooting for Justin Fields, and I have been all season, but I'm not going to pretend like I haven't thought about Caleb Williams becoming a Chicago Bear either. This is a tough decision, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to be something that we discuss all the way leading up to April. And the reason we're going to discuss it ad nauseum is because it's not an easy decision. And so, fans just want everybody on each side of this debate just thinks it's simple, and I get it. And as I've said before, I think both paths have a lot of, opportunity of success, but it's not easy living on the fence, Corey.
But can I tell you one thing, right? And everyone's known. I've been like this from the beginning. He's too talented to let go. I think the thing is, it's funny how all these analysts, right? You see week to week, Justin Fields needs to go. He's not the answer in Chicago, and then all of a sudden, what do we see on Sunday after the game? What do we see Monday? What do we see Tuesday? See everybody talking about, oh, they need to keep him. He's the guy. He's the answer in Chicago. He's had all the talent, man. It's about putting it together, game planning, everything, confidence, just continuing to improve. We've seen him improve in every area. People can act like, he hasn't improved in any area. I don't know what you're watching, right? He very rarely throws picks nowadays. We saw in his second and first year, especially early on last year in the second year, struggled with accuracy, threw a lot of picks. Always seen. Despite just think about this for Justin Fields and my tour of getting him to be the quarterback for the future. Just think about this, right? Starts out the season, doesn't do well, right? Then all of a sudden he has a 2-game stretch where he does well. Then he comes to Minnesota, gets hurt. Everybody's calling for him. Oh, he's not the answer. He sucks. He's this. Just think about the mental strength that when a whole fan base, not everybody, but majority of the fan base saying, you can't play, you suck, we should never draft you, you're a bust, all this, right? To continue to go. And especially think about after he was out for 3 games, I believe, right? Then comes back for that Detroit game. Plays pretty lights out until the fourth quarter where Luke Getsy gets very conservative with the play calling, right? And then all of a sudden just continues to improve and has games where, his stats don't woo and wow you, but his impact is felt. And then we see this last game where stats-wise, right, doesn't blow you out the water. But watching the game, his impact was undeniable. How the stadium rallied around him. We want Fields. The team, the chemistry. You cannot break that up. You can't. You can't do it right now. I'm sorry. They are hitting the ground running in 2024. They're going to compete for a Super Bowl. And like I told you, they are a wide receiver. They're a defensive end and a defensive tackle from being a dangerous team. And you're about to get me fired up. I might have to sign a 1-year contract coming in at 3 technique. All right? I'll give you a couple plays a game. Come on, baby.
Oh. Busting
Don't
out
get
the
it
guns.
twisted, man. But back to you, though, flip-flopper. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I should ask my wife. She makes all my decisions for anything else. Hey, hon, what do you think? We should keep Justin Fields or not? Yeah, I think we should. Okay, I'm going to keep him. Justin Fields is... Hold on, let me get on Twitter. Justin Fields is the guy going forward. And Yeah, I said it. Marvin Harrison Jr., Fields we trust. And they go, oh, I don't know what I'm going to pick now. Caleb Williams seems like a good option. Drake May. Oh my gosh, bro. Yeah. Pick a side, bro. Right now, what do you want to do? Don't go back and forth. What is your heart telling you? What are you feeling right now? I don't care. You don't want to look bad and all this. Stick to your guns, man. What is it now? You gotta.
Coward. I'm a coward. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Gosh.
I don't know. Why can't that be the answer, Woot?
Dude, you sound like the Notebook. I don't know. I don't know. It's not that simple. I used to be a bricklayer. Maybe I should get some bricks. Bricks? What should I do? Come on, Braggs.
Oh man, I'm trying to stand on business. I don't know. I don't know. And it's not that I want to get it wrong. I don't care if what I say is right or wrong. I say plenty of dumb shit on our shows. I just want
But
Ryan
you got to
Poles.
make a decision right now. You keep Fields or you don't.
Right. I want Ryan Poles to get it right. And I said on today's show, I don't know what the right answer is. It's
Can
terrifying.
you be a man? Can you man up? Can come on. Can you you man up?
All right. I'm going to man up. God dang it. I think the smartest thing to do would be to keep Justin Fields and then trade the pick back for a haul.
Ooh.
I would, if you're going to do it, keep Justin Fields, trade that pick back for 3 first-rounders and, the defensive tackle Lawrence from the Giants. See if the Raiders want to give you Max Crosby and multiple first-round picks. Give me firepower on that defensive side of the ball. Give me a few extra first-round picks or multiple picks going forward in the future so I still have a team to stockpile around the quarterback for the next few years. And if you want to roll it with Justin Fields the next couple of years, I can roll with that because I see how much this team will run through a brick wall with him. And while Caleb Williams may end up having a better career, it's going to take him time to earn the trust of this locker room. And if I had to guess, if they got rid of Justin Fields, it would be a lot of pressure on this kid to come in here, not only earn the trust of the fans, but more importantly, the trust of his teammates.
Exactly. And I think from being in the locker room, once you get the chemistry, once you get the camaraderie a certain way, you shouldn't break it up. I think that 2012 to 2013 team, when they fired Lovey, it was night and day. We had the same roster, right? You get rid of Urlacher, and arguably, right, as a leader, all that, he was towards the tail end of his career. He could still play at a good level. He wasn't. He had that knee injury the one season, and but I just think that whenever you have the chemistry and camaraderie, that way you just don't want to break it up, man, because that's such a hard thing to get, and teams go such a long time, even talented teams, right? You look at like Seattle towards the end of their reign. Look at how messed up things got in the locker room, and look at with Sean Payton and that whole situation. It seems like it's destined for failure just because it's crazy how one person's ego could impact the whole team. So that's my only thing is I just think everybody's around Justin Fields. This team is playing at a great level, all-time high camaraderie, chemistry. You're ready to hit the ground running in 2024. And I just think this team would be scary. Current roster, you add 3 big pieces, and then all of a sudden, this team gets scary. And you talked about that in the Super Chat, the North, right? Think about what the Vikings are potentially going to do with their decision at quarterback, right? Kirk Cousins probably won't be there unless it's a friendly deal for them. He'll probably go elsewhere. Somebody's going to probably pay him more just because of the season he had, banking on him recovering. He's not the most mobile guy, so they're like, hey, I'm okay with him coming back from an Achilles. I guarantee that Minnesota's not going to give him top dollar, so I think he'll go elsewhere. That's going to be a whole quarterback situation right there, right? They're going to have to, potentially trade up and get a quarterback at that point. They might not be able to do it because there's a lot of suitors. Green Bay, right? right? Jordan Love, he's a talented guy. I think Detroit, Jared Goff, I think he runs that system well. I don't think he's the most talented quarterback in the NFC North right now. I think it'll be a battle between Jordan Love and Justin Fields. And I think once you put all these pieces together, if it's Getsy getting that game plan with him, I think Justin Fields will be the best quarterback in the NFC North.
And if Matt Eberflus, who said on Monday that he's considering still calling defensive plays next year, even if they bring in a defensive coordinator, maybe you keep Getsy and you hire Frank Reich as a assistant head coach who can help Eberflus with the head coaching duties if Eberflus still wants to keep an eye on the defense and call plays on the sidelines that way. And you can keep an eye on Luke Getsy and the quarterback development and how he calls plays on short yardage situations, because we all know they need a lot of help when it comes to that. Just want to give a quick shout out to our guys over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Make sure you're using the code CHGO when you sign up. NFL fans, it's time to unwrap nonstop football action this holiday season. Throw down on big matchups with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on the NFL and score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 on NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. So we're rounding third, heading home here to end this show. I got the Bulls, CHGO Bulls post-game show coming up here in about 20 minutes to a half hour. Last I looked, the Bulls were having a tough time with the Philadelphia 76ers. Please hit that like button while you're hanging out here, while you're watching Corey Wootton bully me into finally having an opinion and standing on something, planting my flag here for you guys here tonight. It was a little scary there for a minute, but it's
about time you manned up, right?
Yeah.
They said, I used to be a bricklayer. I'm the toughest guy possible. Get out of here, man.
Man, having a sports opinion in front of all of our fans is tougher than laying them bricks. I'll tell you that. Jay Evans, $10 super chat. Listen, people, you can't have Marvin Harrison Jr. if you draft a quarterback number 1 overall. The only way that would happen, Marvin Harrison Jr. would have to drop real hard, or Poles would have to give up draft capital. No thanks. Go get Marvin Harrison Jr. Jay, I agree, but I don't think anybody was insinuating that you could draft, the quarterback at 1 and still get Marvin Harrison Jr. It definitely is one or the other. Larry Lapper, $4.99 super chat. Yeah, and he played this good or better last year for a stretch, and then he regressed. Can't trust him. Can't go through his progressions. He's good as gone. So another guy on the other side of the debate. Larry's thinking Caleb Williams might be a Chicago Bear here. Dominic Franchillo, $5 super chat. Great show. Go Bears. We appreciate you tuning in, Dominic. And then finally, Easy E134, $5 super chat. I want to keep Justin Fields, but what would you do if Atlanta offered the number 9 pick for Justin Fields?
I think they gotta give 2 first-round picks at that point. I gotta see next year too, but I highly doubt that, and I think you could potentially get more picks by just trading that first pick, even back maybe 1 position. I think that could be a possibility too, and still be able to get your guy, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. A lot of options on the table, and we're going to get to talk about this all off season. Packer week is this week. Corey, before we go, your favorite memory of playing the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field?
My favorite memory of playing the Packers, I would probably say, for me, the game where Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. Right? You never want to see anybody get hurt, but obviously when he's not on the field, you got a better chance of winning. But that game, I always remember. It was like similar to this Bears team, right? It was a while since we beat them over there. I think what was it, 2011? I think when McCown was there, we beat them, I believe. Do I have that right?
I get my years mixed up.
Yeah, but in 2013, that's when Seneca Wallace came in. He was the backup, and I remember towards the end of the game, they're in a 2-minute situation, and I remember I got a sack on Seneca Wallace, and he's a mobile guy. And I just remember, like, I don't know what happened. My instincts just took over, and he went left. He went right. I beat the guard. This is when I was playing 3 technique at the time because Henry Melton, Stephen Paya got hurt, and made a move on the 3 technique. Went in there, got Seneca Wallace, matched me with left, right, roped him down, and it was a 2-minute situation. I just remember doing the Chappelle robot, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta get back to the line." And you see it on the ESPN. I'm here, and then all of a sudden, like. Literally, I realized like, oh shit, I can't be celebrating in the 2-minute drill. But I just remember that for me. Everybody started hitting me up about that. Twitter, friends texting me. They're like, "Man, did you really do the Chappelle Show robot in a 2-minute situation, dummy?" And I was like, it was kind of stupid. But I got back to the line and almost had another sack on that drive too. But that was a good one because anytime you could beat Green Bay, especially in Titletown. Great feeling. Hopefully, we'll see going forward with this game and in the future. Hopefully, there's a new reign in town with the Chicago Bears. And hopefully, we'll reverse the trend, right? Chicago will have all the good quarterbacks and the winning streak the next 25 years. How about that? How you like that?
Man.
That'd be pretty good.
With this Justin Fields resurgence here to end the year, it's bringing out a different side of Corey. I think you'd have a future in the WWE. You got those wrestling eyes, in the hype videos, where you could, call out your enemy and scare someone like myself into admitting things or finally coming around to things. Ken P, $5 super chat. Thanks for the soliloquy, Woot. I was starting to believe in Fields, and now you made me go back to being out because I ain't no girly man.
I love it. At least Braggs, he finally manned up.
Standing on something. You got to stand for something. If you don't stand for something,
hold on real quick before we get out of here. How about Gervon Dexter? Right, continues to improve, continues to get better. And you see what I was talking about. I texted you, Hogue, and Carm, right? And I said this is so impressive what he's able to do. So I said if you look at him on every play, he's the last guy off the football. And not to nitpick or hate on him by any means, but I'm just saying, think about how much he's leaving on the table, getting off slow in the Tampa 2 scheme. Mm-hmm. Braggs, he's the last person off the ball. So that's what I'm saying. He's able to do this and make such an impact getting off the ball slow. Imagine when he could really focus on his get off. People go, "Oh, you're hating on him." No, I'm just saying this is how he can improve. And I think everybody has to use constructive criticism. And I think he would appreciate that as well. Because the sky is the limit for this guy, right? I see exactly what Poles, like when he first got drafted, I was kind of like, what? Like he was in a 2-gapping scheme. Why are we all of a sudden? And now you see what I'm talking about, right? But the thing is, imagine when he gets off the football, how scary he could be. So that's why I'm saying I've been very adamant about this. This offseason, you focus on your get off. That's all you work on. You work on your hands, you work on everything else, but your get off. Because you're going to hit the ground running. And imagine if he can get off the football being 6'6", 315, 320 pounds.
Unbelievable. Yep.
Unbelievable. Because fans out there, everybody tuning in, everybody in the chat, watch Gervon Dexter getting off the football. He just doesn't get off the football. So when he does, it's going to be a scary sight. So I'm looking forward to the future because it's impressive at this level to not be able to get off the football and make such an impact like he is. I think that just speaks of how amazing of an athlete, how strong he is, how physical. It's going to be a scary sight. I think the Bears are trending up. And I know everybody was so excited about this upcoming season, like this season we're in now last year. But this is exactly where Detroit was last year. And the Bears are playing better than they were. So I think the future is bright in Chicago. A couple pieces away, right? A couple chess moves away.
Not too far away.
Really good.
Yep. Yeah. Future's bright. Got to put on some shades. So total malarkey, $5 super chat. Love you, Greg. Paper bags. But Love is the best quarterback in Bears history. I don't know.
Oh, he doesn't own us like Rodgers. It's been one game.
Yeah, calm down, malarkey. See, he is total malarkey. He's correct. He lives up to his name. But we appreciate everybody hanging out once again here tonight. Off to go hang out and do some CHGO Bulls post-game show with the guys. The 76ers are up by 30 with just under 8 minutes to go. So got to get ready for that show, and I'm sure Matt Peck will throw many a hats, and Big Dave will be hooting and hollering about something, and they'll be, always giving me shit like they always do. So, again, hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already as we continue to drive to 50K on our YouTube channel. And as always, Corey Wootton, thank you for your football expertise. Thank you, I guess, for putting me on your football knee and giving me the spanking that I guess I deserved. I was put in my place here tonight. I know I'm sure it entertained a lot of the people tuning in. So I had fun with it. It's therapeutic. We're going to get through this. It's going to be a fun off season, and let's beat the crap out of Green Bay here this Sunday. What do you say?
I say it sounds like a plan, Stan. But yeah, I'm proud of you, Brax, because you finally manned up, and you weren't on some other stuff. So I know it's you're a work in progress, man. So I know you're Mr. Flip Flopper. This ain't the summertime. We're not in Hawaii. We're not on the beach anywhere. But stop flip flopping, all right? Yeah. I know you probably got some Team Jordans on right now. Is that what you got?
Yeah. No, I ain't got no Jordans. I just got normal Adidas.
No, I was talking about Team Jordans.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
everybody in the chat knows what I'm talking.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. So.
Oh man, you're a Team Jordan type of guy.
You'll have to teach me another day. But yeah, tomorrow tune in at noon. Me, Mark Carmen, Adam Hogue, going to be joined by Brian Baldinger, who will also be telling us how much he believes in Justin Fields here nowadays. So the pendulum swings. Corey Wootton's been standing over here, and we're all starting to join him on the bandwagon. Him and Robert Friel, they've been standing on it for a long time here at CHGO. So shout out to you guys for your courage, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again, Corey. Green Bay sucks, right, Corey?
No, Pack, no.
Bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.